Welcome to Greg Hansen's Video Notebook, brought to you by Albertsons. I'm Star Sports Editor Ryan Finley here with Greg Hansen. Greg, it's rivalry week. Arizona and ASU will play each other Friday at Arizona Stadium with a chance, assuming they get a little help from Stanford, to win the Pac-12 South title. You make the point in this week's Star, Greg, that this is the most important UA-ASU game since, when was it, 1986?
Yep, 1986. Last time they were both ranked and relevant at the same time, which, how hard is that? How many years is that? 28 years?
Oh, I was 5.
Yeah. So I think I was 6. So.
But that was the Chuck Cecil game, right?
Yeah, and that was, you know, this summer the Pac-12 Network came to Tucson and did a special 1-hour show on that game, and they had a hard time digging up live bodies to talk about it. So it was a long time ago, but you know, the games in between, they always have something to hook you, even though they weren't so relevant. But you know, this is pretty nice. Is
it just a matter, Greg, that both of these teams are good, or is there a sort of an underlying hatred, do you think, to this year's version of the rivalry?
I think the fact that the coaches are at one another's throats behind the scenes, they don't like each other very obviously. That hasn't happened here for many, many, many years. I think since the entire town of Tucson lived in fear of Frank Kush. Because the coaches ASU hired since then were frankly not very good, and they weren't hateable guys.
Right, right. What makes Todd Graham hateable to you?
To me, I don't think he's hateable.
Okay.
But I know Rich Rod and Todd Graham don't like one another, and that he has had 4 U of A coaches work for him at Pitt and fired one, and so there's so much to it.
If you're going back, Greg, through the greatest U of A ASU games in history, where do you start?
I think I've been fortunate enough to talk to guys who played in the 40s and 50s, even the 30s, but ASU wasn't relevant in the 30s and 40s. But the 1961 game, Arizona beat Frank Kush up there, and Bobby the General Thompson had this 70-yard twisting zigzag run late in the fourth quarter to win it. And then Arizona, of course, that was the year Arizona was 8-1-1. That was their best season ever until, you know,
1998. Yeah.
So that was when it began, I think.
Wow, in the time that you've been covering this team and this university, what's the best game you ever saw? Was it 86?
82 game.
82?
It was my first year here. 1982, ASU was 9-1. They were going to the Rose Bowl if they beat Arizona, which was 5-4. And they had the #1 defense in the country. They pioneered new techniques of blitzing and stuff. It was a scary team. Arizona beat them 28-18. They tore down the goalposts, and at 2:30 that morning, of all places, I was at Dirtbags on Speedway, being a bad boy.
You were doing research for a story, is what you were doing.
Yeah. That's how it turned out, because Joe Drake, who had 2 safeties in that game, walked down the street with several friends with one of the goalposts.
Wow.
1982.
That'll do it for this episode of Greg Hansen's Video Notebook, brought to you by Albertsons. For Greg Hansen, I'm Ryan Finley. We'll see you Friday.
It's game time here at Albertsons, so listen up. It's our goal to help you score great deals. So pay attention to the game plan, because you could win Cardinal season tickets, the chance for your child to be a Cardinal kickoff kid, or $10,000 cash, and other prizes. Here's what you do. Look for this tag, buy $10 worth or more. Grab your prize code at checkout and enter it at scoregreatdeals.com. Now let's play football. Get in the game for your chance to win.